Hello everyone, and welcome to another discussion video where I'm going to briefly give my thoughts on the latest story trailer and bevy of previews that have gone live on various websites for Silent Hill 2 Remake. I really don't want to get my hopes up, but I feel like I am now. This new trailer really did it for me. I could feel myself getting emotional, not just because of the acting, which is shaping up to be very good, but it looks very faithful to the original and is seemingly going to do it justice. As I've said before, Silent Hill 2 is one of the best games of all time, and if you'd have asked me a year ago if it needed a remake, I would have said no. But I damn hella sure want to play this one. I can't help but be excited. Anyway, before I go off at the deep end, the trailer kicks off and continuously cuts back to the infamous scene where James catches up to Maria after being separated from her in the long hallway, having thought her dead. The voice acting in this part is unnerving and haunting. The delivery is perfect. The mixture of presenting herself as everything James wanted from his wife Mary, sexualized, waiting there for him in a cage to do what he wants with her, while at the same time talking in such a tone that you know something is not right. Any normal person's alarm bells would be ringing at this point, but James, well, he's going through some shit right now and isn't thinking straight. I didn't think that scene could be improved upon, but somehow the subdued delivery combined with updated graphics really got under my skin. Alongside this, the trailer gives us a first look at Eddie Dombrowski, another major character from the original. We don't see tons of footage of him, but enough to give us an idea how he will come across in this remake. The first shot showing when he begins to crack, his demeanour becoming more threatening. Then an extremely brief shot of Eddie seemingly from earlier in the game looking a little scared. A lot will hinge on Eddie's performance and his ability to go from scared human to someone devoid of emotion to the extreme anger we finally see which drives him over the edge. From a looks perspective, yeah, Eddie looks great, and I'm glad he's pretty much remained the same. I'm curious as to who's playing him and whether or not they can pull off his scenes. I guess time will tell. The rest of the trailer shows cuts from the game from various parts. A proper look at Mary, another look at Laura, Angela, and some shots from other parts of the game, all looking very pretty, while in the background we hear a remix version of Akira Yamaoka's Promise, a little heavier and not all that bad. As far as trailers go, this one was pretty strong. I really liked what I saw here, and it's only got me more hyped up for the game, which is a far cry from a year ago where I was super worried about what was going to happen. Alongside this trailer, a bunch of different websites got early access to the first 3 hours of the game, and surprisingly, all of them had positive things to say. The general consensus seems to be that this remake is far more faithful to the original, in story and in gameplay, than we expected, all of them having played up to the first 3 hours of the game until the first Pyramid Head fight. Some will say this is a missed opportunity to add in some new jump scares or tweak lines of dialogue, but I'm honestly okay with this. Nothing really needs changing as the old dialogue holds up by today's standards. A few new features have been added however, such as an additional jukebox puzzle in Neely's bar and the slightly expanded town area which now has more explorable shops, and a bevy of ambient noises to scare the hell out of you. Once again, not a bad thing. The only real confirmed change so far is how you get your radio and your first weapon, but according to the previews, this has zero impact on the pacing and direction of the game. Like the original, difficulty can be set for both combat and puzzles, which is great, and the puzzles have a lot more environmental clues integrated in them now. So you'll likely be doing a lot of looking around trying to solve them. The combat was feared to be in danger of turning James into Rambo, but according to the written previews and the accompanying videos, it looks and feels great, improved by the camera angle but also made more terrifying by the viciousness of the enemies. It's still janky in its own way to make you feel uncomfortable. I like that a lot. The dodge mechanic is also not overpowered and feels a little more grounded compared to the other super dodge rolls available in other games. The fog looks fantastic too, bolstered by the updated graphics, which has to be the most impressive thing about this remake. I mean, just look at it. All of the areas have been spruced up and look so damn fine. I think I'm in love. I even read in one of the previews that if you try and leave Silent Hill at the start of the game, you'll be blocked by a thick, impassable wall of fog, and a trophy will pop for your efforts. Little things like this are going to make the experience even better in my opinion. Like I said before, there was some additional footage accompanying these previews, which of course excited me more, including finally seeing Pyramid Head in action as well. Oh boy. Some conversations have come out about the usage of things like moving bins into place to mask loading screens, and even how some people would prefer to just use old school loading screens. I don't think I care much for loading screens myself. I want to be fully immersed in my surroundings, much like the removal of the HUD. Getting away from loading screens and menus as much as possible helps with this, and if it needs to be covered up by a mundane action, then so be it. It's an interesting thing to talk about, but something I don't really want to go into too much detail here. I've seen it firsthand in life in general, and doing something simple as watching a TV program. As soon as the adverts hit, most people jump straight on their phones to check if they've missed something going on in the real world. I personally hate this mentality that the world has made the norm. Any opportunity to keep people engaged and stop them from checking their bloody phones is something I'll champion. I'm fully aware that adverts and loading screens are wildly different, but the premise is still the same. The TLDR, I don't mind the mundane stuff if it keeps my hands on the controller. But who knows, maybe they didn't need a section where you push a bin. Maybe they could have got away with just having the bin there in the first place. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on these things, and I don't know what would have worked better for the developers. But here we are. You may think differently, and please let me know if you do. Not everyone will feel the same on this, and that is absolutely fine. I've also seen some comments saying that it doesn't feel as revolutionary as Resident Evil 2 and feels a little safe. To be honest, the changes made to Resident Evil 2 worked for Resident Evil 2, but there's a massive sect of people that still prefer the original in terms of design. Whereas this may feel safe, changing too much might have ruined the experience. Not much has changed, and the feedback so far is positive. Funny that. Saying that, new endings have apparently been confirmed in New Game Plus, and these previews are only from the beginning of the game. So, of course, there's a lot more to experience, and time will tell whether or not this remake is a winner. All in all, this was very pleasant news to wake up to this morning. All the signs are pointing in the right direction, but I will, as always, remain on the fence until I've had hands-on time myself. Of course, I cannot help but be excited and now a little more hopeful. As I mentioned before, the remake is coming out on the 8th of October, and I am going to be away exactly 1 week before its release. I plan upon my return to do a full review video, and if you are interested, I'll even stream a full playthrough. Of course, please use the comments section of this video to have a discussion about everything we've seen so far. I'll be very keen to see what you think. As per usual, if you haven't done it already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and also like this video. If you want to keep up to date with video news or the thoughts that come out of my head, please give me a follow on Twitter at DonPedroX. And if you want to support what I do, I have a Patreon as well. Links will be in the description of this video. Right, see you next time.